Hi, I'm Brian K. Ramey with Becoming the Better You, and today I have a great opportunity to speak with Marci Hopkins. Marci, how are we doing today?
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
So I got a little bit of backstory on you, but actually what I want you to do is share with the audience a little bit about who is Marci Hopkins.
Well, there's been a lot of chapters in my life, and I had to go through some difficult times to get to the person that I am today. But a lot of us go through trauma, and I myself went through trauma. I had abandonment, alcoholic parents. I also went through some sexual abuse. And I learned and mirrored what I saw. I began coping with alcohol. And with that journey in life, I had difficulty in relationships. I had difficulty in trusting myself, loving myself, honoring myself. And while I was able to navigate life, I did. I went to school, not that it was an easier linear road, but I made it through school. I ended up working in media for Fox Cable Group, and I did pretty well. But all the while, I was using alcohol. I was just reacting to life. I didn't trust myself, like I said. I had no self-confidence. And things looked good on the outside, but the inside was crumbling, right? And I was just trying to make it and survive. And that's what life was for me, was just survival. And I got married and had children, and I made some moves along the way. I'm from Houston, work took me to Denver, then LA, that's where I met my husband, and then we moved to New Jersey. And I know.
That's a big shift.
I made my way around, right? And, life looked beautiful. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I had a great home, great family, great community, and I was doing my best to be that perfect person. Because if I could keep things perfect on the outside, I felt like I had some control.
Okay.
And while I was doing that, I mean, if anybody's trying to be perfect, you know what I'm talking about. You feel like your nervous system, like you are just vibrating on the inside all the time, just waiting for that other shoe to drop, right?
Sure.
Because if somebody sees the crack in you, they're going to see that little girl that was lost and hurt and abandoned and just coping in life today. And I did everything I could to try to mask that. And I decided around 40 that I was going to go after this lifelong dream. And I got in front of the camera.
There you go.
And New York was about 25 miles away. My kids were getting older in school, and I just have that industry in my blood. I just love it. I love to be
Made
creative.
For the show.
Yeah, I mean, and I did everything behind the scenes. But when I was a teenager, I always wanted to be in front of the camera. So being so close to New York, I went after this dream. And there were things in my life that were kind of falling into place, helping me along to make this dream come true. But once I got on that side, getting in front of the camera, auditioning, having to balance life, that's when things really started to spiral for me, because all of my insecurities were coming up for me, being judged all of the time, and life spiraled out of control. And I ended up using alcohol as liquid courage. And yeah, so
interesting framing.
while I was managing the drinking, like drinking for me every day was normal. That mommy wine culture, getting together, having the wine, doing the play dates, having wine when you're cooking dinner, that was all normal. But I started drinking during the day. because before I'd go to an audition, or maybe after an audition, or then the roller coaster ride of, am I going to get the job? And then if I got it, how am I going to make it work, right? Because I didn't want my children to feel abandonment like I had. So I didn't want to bring anyone else to raise my kids. So that was very important to me. So it got to a place where I was drowning. I was drowning. I felt like I was drowning. And my drinking was increasing. And I finally, on October 3rd, 2015, I was 45 years old. Everything just came crashing down. And I had my rock bottom.
Okay.
And
the facade, if you will.
The facade
came off.
Broke down.
So
right.
If I understand correctly what you're saying, and I don't want to interrupt your story too much here. However, your external definitely wasn't reflecting your internal.
Correct.
The battle was your internal wanted to come out, but your external, that facade on the outside, kind of like today, we're in front of a camera. People only see what goes on camera, they don't see what behind the scenes is.
That's right.
And so from that point forward, you started to insulate some of those things with drinking, put those, what I would call a moat,
Yeah.
so you could travel back and forth with a little boat. However, the boat had a hole in it and it was sinking. Is
that's a good way to explain it. Okay. Sure. Yeah, you can picture it that way. I was starting to unravel and having difficulties in my relationship with my husband, and I just knew that last final day of drinking, I woke up the next day and I knew I couldn't live my life that way anymore. And I did one of the hardest things that we as humans can do, and that's surrender. And it wasn't about waving the white flag or I have failed. It's that I no longer can live my life the way that I am living it.
Okay.
And so I made a choice that I was going to make this huge change in my life, and that I was no longer going to drink, and I was going to do whatever I needed to do to make that happen. And when I shared that with my husband, that I was an alcoholic and I needed help, he embraced me. And he showed me love.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I felt that love that I'd always been seeking in my life, because I'd never really felt it growing up. And I was always seeking that from friends, men in my life, validation from work, whatever it is. But that moment was the first moment that I really, really felt that love, and like the weight of the world came off my shoulders, and I was ready to be brutally honest with myself.
So I know you've written a book, and from my understanding, you're coming out with another book. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So how did that book, by the way, you can go ahead and tell everybody what the name of that book is.
It's called Chaos to Clarity, Seeing the Signs and Breaking the Cycles.
So in that book, you pretty much illustrated what you had been going through.
Right.
Showed other people what that looks like and how you can reposition yourself. So it was probably, I can only assume, it was kind of like your mapping, if you will, to move forward in life.
100%.
And you use that as your map, and that you could share it with others.
Yes.
You know, one of the things that Becoming the Better You, our focus is there's a version of yourself that's authentic to you to become better. What that is, we don't know. Only thing we like to do is assist and help and be a catalyst to show you that person lives. So with your book, that's what you did.
Yeah.
Now you go out to the world.
Yeah.
And you show that, and people can actually live through that in the pages that you've written.
Yes, that's true. And the thing is that a lot of times we are so fearful to tell our stories.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much healing in being authentic and real and sharing your story and not keeping that within yourself. Because I healed so much through those pages, and knowing that I was going to be able to help others and meet people where they are in their healing journey kept me going in writing that book.
So what would you say the top 3 things for you in writing that book? Because I think you communicated that, but I think it's we need to be specific so that the audience actually knows.
Mm-hmm.
These are 3 core things that were in my book that elevated me and allowed me to break through that glass ceiling, if you will.
Yeah.
What would you say the 3?
Spirituality, gratitude, and forgiveness.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Those are critical.
Yeah. Huge.
What we think of, oh my gosh, it's going to be way over the top. I've got to do this, and I've got to do this. I got to climb Mount Everest. Gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
These are normal things we should do, but we don't.
But we're not really taught how to do it. And it is a mindset. And we change the neuro pathways in our brain with these tools and practices that I share within my book and also that I talk about.
Okay.
And these are simple exercises that you can incorporate into every day. I mean, these are daily things that you have to do to create the change within your brain. You know, just like working out, right? Building a muscle, changing your physique. This is changing your brain, your mindset, how you think about something and how you show up in your day and you view the world and your life.
Well, that's a perfect segue to my next question.
Mm-hmm.
So you've written the book, but I understand you also have a show? Is that correct?
do. It's called Wake Up with Marci.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, so that's really about waking up your subconscious.
Okay.
Because we are so programmed, our subconscious is, and honestly, that's what we're running on. We only, our awake brain, we're only, using about 10% of it. But really, it's the story, the way that we speak to ourselves, our values, our beliefs. These are all things that we've been programmed to believe and how we show up in our lives. Okay. And this is all about reprogramming that subconscious, waking up that subconscious so you can wake up to your worth, so you can live your best life.
Wow. And how often do you do the show?
The show is a weekly show.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a TV show, but it's now a podcast.
Okay.
And it's streaming on multiple platforms, and it's on YouTube, so, and all your podcast platforms. So I love doing the work that I do because through my healing, I started growing. I started living a life of peace and joy and connection, and I didn't have that. And so through these practices and this evolution, if you will, through my healing, I started living this magical life that I never thought was possible. Because I used to live in a place where I was a victim, and I needed chaos in my life because that's what I was used to,
chaos.
right? So we may say we don't want chaos in our lives, but if that's all you know, that's where you honestly feel safe in it. You feel safe in it.
I understand.
And so, once I started doing the work and I started, wow, I can be peaceful and feel comfortable in that. I can feel joy. I can feel love and trust for myself and not need you to tell me that I'm good. Like, I wanted to give that back to people.
I made a post today on the social platforms, and I don't know, I'm trying to think if this pertains. So the post says, growth begins when excuses end.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So with that, I think in alignment for you, the growth was always available. You just needed to look in the mirror and see the authentic, really, what Marci was created for.
Yeah.
Not what she had been through, but what she was created for. And then that brought you to the surface of where you could grow. You to the surface of where you could grow.
Yeah. And that's for all of us, right?
Absolutely.
That our past doesn't define us. And it can break us, and it can create who we are as an adult, but we have the power to change that. And like I said, through forgiveness, forgiving yourself, and we stay stuck in that shame and guilt, and we're afraid to ask for help. And spirituality, living and recognizing that there's something bigger than ourselves out there, and guiding us. And once we start opening our eyes to that and becoming more connected to that, we start living that authentic life and that truthful life. And being able to be grateful, even though life may not look like what you want it to look like, if you start seeing the small things in your life that you're grateful for. I mean, even if it's a cup of coffee, right? Your roof over your head. You've got all your senses. I mean, those are actually huge, but they're small because that's something that in our society, and especially in the United States, very normalized, right? A lot of us have a roof over our head, right? But we take that for granted. We have running water, take that for granted. So just starting to recognize that and just retraining how we look at life. And once we start seeing that gratitude, we can look at these experiences and things that life is going to happen, bad things are going to happen, but we can reframe how we look at it. And it doesn't have to destroy us. We can look at it as, okay, God, what am I going to learn through this? Right? We become resilient. We don't react to things. We learn to pause. And it's a beautiful way of life. And I've come up with this care method. Excuse me. And it's about learning to communicate effectively, ask for help without guilt, reinforce boundaries, and embrace your power and your worth. Because it's hard. It's hard to say what you need. It's hard to recognize what you need, and set those boundaries when we're trying to be a people pleaser, right? Just so people like us, and we put so much pressure on ourselves. And I know from experience. I'm now over 10 years sober, and
congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much. And my second book coming out April 7th is Wake Up, You're Not Broken, What to Expect the First 30 Days of Sobriety. I just know through this work that you can find the happiness that you're seeking in this life. It's available to you. But the first thing you need to do is surrender and start to take action.
Okay.
Because it doesn't matter what you learn, nothing is going to change. No behavior, no habit, nothing will change if you don't start taking action.
So in both books, we often hear the term, it's a new phrase I think a lot of people are using now, triggers.
Yeah, I talk about triggers a lot.
So in your books,
Yeah.
and one to come out, do you explain to the audience on how to set boundaries on those triggers?
Yeah, I mean, and this is anything in life, but when you are in recovery, you must change people, places, and things. So if you think about it, triggers. Your family can be a trigger, a restaurant can be a trigger, something, in your home can be a trigger, a glass can be a trigger. So let's say there's a glass in your house that you always drink wine out of. Like, that's something you've got to get rid of. So you're not triggered by it. You don't go to the same restaurants. You change the people, places, and things in your life so you're not triggered to act on those old behaviors.
I bet it'd be a little empowering to break that glass
Yeah.
Throw it in the trash, right? You move on from it.
But I will tell you, the beauty of this healing process is that something that may be a trigger for you in the beginning then just becomes an item. Just becomes an item. And I'll give you an example. So when I was 12 years old, I went to Hong Kong, and there was an incident that happened with my stepfather, abuse that happened. And there was a watch that he purchased for me there. He bought me things to say sorry for his behavior, let's just say that. Bought me gifts. And so I had this watch. And later on in life, like, I couldn't even wear the watch. I couldn't be near the watch because it always reminded me of what happened. It was a trigger for the emotion, the guttural emotion, and the feeling that I had staying stuck in that story. But now I look at that watch and I'm not reminded of the story. I have healed from what happened, as we talked about before. My past doesn't define me anymore. It is something that happened to me.
Rearview mirror. I tell people all the time, and I train on it.
Yeah.
We have a windshield in front of us, and we have a rearview mirror. We
Right.
constantly look at the rearview mirror, but you can't drive a car
Looking behind.
looking at the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
I actually had somebody tell me one time that they actually tried it, and they wrecked.
Of course they did.
Just trying to look in the rearview mirror to see, and then they actually, it was interesting. They put a pair of reflective sunglasses on to look in the rearview mirror. That's why they wrecked.
Were they trying to prove you wrong?
No, they're the ones who shared the story with me.
Okay.
That they said it does not work. This is a pattern that if you constantly look for what's behind you, that triggers you, you're never going to move forward.
Never.
Of the windshield, they can have a pretty sunset, a nice moon, beautiful snow. It doesn't matter. You have that windshield there that you can actually see what's happening in front of you.
And the only thing you have is this present moment that you have control of.
You know, there's a quote that says, what you focus on expands. If you focus on the negative, guess what you're going to do?
Exactly.
Expand your negative.
And you bring negativity into your life. Yeah.
So I think that's fantastic. I'm glad that you're pouring into people, and I'm glad that you offer a podcast that you can sit down. Let me ask you this question. Can anybody just get on your podcast, or do you vet people, or what's that process? Because I'm sure you would love to have people on there.
Yeah. My audience is my why. I want to make a change in my audience's lives. Okay. So I'm not going to have someone that's going to come on and they want to talk about their business, or they're trying to sell something, or maybe they're stuck in old patterns. Okay. I'm going to have somebody that's gone through the transformation so they can share hope, how they went through this difficult time in their life. Maybe they're a thought leader, an author, someone that is creating a difference from an experience they've had in their lives. So there is a vetting process. Yes, there is. And because I think it's important for the audience to know that I'm sure you would love to have as many people on your podcast as possible. Yeah. But there is a process to when you get on a podcast, it's just not, hey, let's just sit down and have a great conversation and talk about a little or nothing. There may be some out there that it's about that. But I had a TV show for 7 years, and now I have my podcast, and it's just always for me. We are having a conversation on my podcast, but there is a purpose behind it. It's not just about us chatting. It's about who's listening or watching, and with every question I ask, I'm strategic to think about how is this going to make a difference in the person that's listening or watching's life. Okay, so what's up next? I know the book's coming out. Yeah. When does that launch, the new one? The new one is coming out April 7th. Oh, okay. And it is available for pre-sale on Amazon. But for those who don't know, April is the diamond month, so you can use your book as like the diamond. Yeah, it's also Alcohol Awareness Month. Okay. I'm also a mental health advocate, and a big part of what I do is try to bash the stigma around substance use and alcohol use disorder. Because we, again, have been programmed to feel shame around this topic. And I don't know about you, but growing up, I mean, I had an alcoholic mother, and there was a lot of alcoholism in my family. And I mean, I can just hear my grandfather even saying it right now. We don't talk about this with anybody outside of the home. This stuff stays inside of the home. Mm-hmm. And we stay sick in the silence. Mm-hmm. And we know now that this is a mental health disease. It's a disease of the brain. Alcohol changes the structure of our brains. And it is a symptom. So often, if somebody's doing drugs or alcohol or eating disorder or doom scrolling or working out or excessive, the workaholic, they're masking something else that has happened to them, and they're trying to fill that void. Okay. So it's about getting to the root of why. And so often it's because of that trauma that we've gone through, and it's about learning how we can get through that and reprogram our brains.
So what's next? The book's come out April 7th.
Yeah, the book.
What's next for Marci as she's out there improving and helping?
Yeah.
And really caring for those who are around her or in the world.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
Well, I have a educational series that's coming out.
Okay.
That's on YouTube, and that'll be launching actually next week.
Are you willing to give any primers to it? Or?
Well, they're just educational videos about how when we stay stuck, what happens and how we can move on. Okay. And it focuses on a lot of topics because I have a program called Chaos to Clarity, From Stuck to Thriving. So when we stay stuck, and like I was talking about, just in that survival mode, it is hard to flourish in our lives. Okay. And so this is to help men and women, but primarily women, because this is what I've gone through and I speak to women a lot, letting go of that survival mode, the trauma, staying small, overcoming that overwhelm, that stress, and prioritizing yourself and learning how to do that. Okay. And not doing that through these negative coping mechanisms, and just trusting yourself, like, okay, I'm healing, but I'm still living in the fear. And staying stuck. So how do I move forward and really strive and thrive in this life? And that's what I'm helping people to do through my program and also through this educational series. And also look for me on stages, and I'm excited to be a part of the tour.
Oh, there we go.
Yes,
you don't let the cat out of the bag so quickly.
Oh, come on now.
We're going to get there.
Okay.
We're going to get there. Don't get too far ahead of me. Now, Marci. This is what they like to do, folks. They like to take over the show and just let them...
Stealing the spotlight.
Yeah. Anyways, no. So I want to go back to your series. Mm-hmm. So is it a curriculum-based program, or is it a workbook program? What can they expect in something like that?
So for the YouTube, it's just educational videos and what you can do. Yeah, it's bringing awareness. We go on YouTube to learn pretty much everything. I love it. Like anything, right? I don't know how to put this light bulb in. Let me go learn how to do it. Well, this is how to learn to change your mindset, and like I said, move from being stuck to thriving. Okay. And then the program is videos, and it's journaling and prompts, and it's a self-paced program.
Okay, so let's make a pivot. Since you brought it up to let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
I'm going to first ask you, becoming the better you.
Yeah.
It's all about, we even have the URL, comechangeyourlife.com. My question to you is, how was it introduced to you? How did you come to follow it is the second part. And where are we going? Because I know where we're going now because you done let the tour out. So how did you get introduced to becoming the better you?
Well, it's a funny little story. I was at another speaking workshop, and Brenda Ringwood, which founder of Becoming the Better You, was there. And she stood up in the middle of this conference and started asking questions as somebody that facilitates speaking conferences. And so a lot of our heads turned like, who's this woman, right?
No way.
And
I say that facetiously, by the way.
yes, I was intrigued immediately. And I went to the ladies' room, and she was in there. And it was just her and I, and we started talking and exchanged information, and we ended up, a few of us went to lunch later, and that's how we connected. And we stayed in touch ever since.
So I know you have attended one of our conferences as well.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
You spoke at that conference.
I did.
And so what did you think about that? Because I know that conference that you came to was a little different than what most people...
Well, what I love is there were challenges.
Okay.
And she faced them head on, and she made them work. Like, again, life's going to happen, but what are you going to do with it? Are you going to make it work? Or are you going to feel sorry for yourself and stay stuck and say, oh, I'm not doing this at all, right? Because you're only harming yourself,
well,
all right?
You know, the interesting thing is most people, they came in with what they thought it was going to be, which you got to understand. Just to kind of, for the audience, it was at a haunted house.
And I love haunted houses, so I was all excited, actually.
And so when you walked in, you're depending on what you like or dislike, all of a sudden you're like, this is different.
It was.
But what happened is when you got upstairs and the transition from where the speakers and the communicators and the little workshops that we had, it fit perfectly for what needed to be done and how it needed to be done. So people walked in going, what? Walked out going, that was amazing.
It was amazing.
That's what everybody that I spoke with, that's what they thought.
Yeah.
It was like, that was
know
crazy weird going in, but crazy fantastic when I came out.
It really was. I felt like, I don't know, it was just like a real crazy connection that was happening within that room. And we were all sweating. And
I know.
trying to do our thing up on stage.
No pressure, no diamonds.
Exactly. But I got to tell you, the team made it awesome.
Yes, they did. And that's one of the things, I'm going to give a prop out to my buddy Johnny Avocado, because he's sitting here listening to us and keeping everything in the background. That's what it's all about. It's the team. The team comes together. We work together. People like yourself come in. We're working together. We're collaborating together. And we're just enjoying the ride that we're on.
Yeah.
So since you let the cat out of the bag, I'm going to go ahead and let you tell the story of what's about ready to happen. Or we're actually starts next week. So tell the audience a little bit about what Becoming the Better You is doing.
Well, I know there's a multi-state tour that is kicking off next week, and I'm going to be part of 3 of those conferences, so I'm super excited about it. I wish that I could be at every single one of them.
Sure.
But let me tell you, you don't want to miss this conference, because between the speakers and the team and those that are showing up, I mean, this is where the change makers are. And if you are there and ready to listen and put the tools into action, because listen, you're going to learn so much through this and through those that are up on the stage. This is where you want to be. If you are really ready to make a change in your life, you are not going to want to miss the Becoming the Better You tour. And I know that, like I said, I think, what are there, 10 different states that you guys are going to be in? And so even if it's not right in your state, I'd say find one close to you.
Yeah, our first one's next week in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, I wish I could be there, being from Houston.
Yeah, then we go from
That
Dallas to
one's
Nebraska,
fun.
and then
Yeah.
it's very. So yeah, you're right. If you felt like, well, I can't go to Dallas, or
Yeah.
I can't go to Denver, but I go to Florida.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll
Or
be
I
in
need to-
Orlando May 1st.
Yeah,
Woo
we're
woo.
going to have one in Richmond.
Yeah.
So Virginia.
Yeah.
So there is inevitably there's going to be. It might be a 2-3 hour drive for somebody,
Yeah.
but here's what you're and I'm going to put the plug here. Here's what you're not going to get.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get a bunch of I'm selling you all kinds of this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
People
I'm up
selling
on
you.
stage.
Mhm.
It's going to be high-end content, actionable items that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
We're going to have different people on the stage where panels
Yeah.
talking about different things that will change. Because our whole thing is to come change your life. It's all becoming the better you.
Yeah.
And wherever you're at, in your personal life, your business life, it doesn't matter.
Right.
We're here to help
Yeah.
walk you through that.
Right. And you learn through the stories.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this isn't sit back and just go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be
gonna
highly
interactive. Yeah.
It'll be very interactive.
I know I'm going to be interactive, so come ready.
No way. So you get to go. We're going on the tour together.
Yeah.
What about after the tour?
Well,
What's the next steps? What if we were to put out there a line? Everybody does their 1, 3, 5, 10.
Yeah.
What really is your next 12 months for
Yeah.
you? What's the next 12 months for Marci?
Well, I'm just building on first where I have my podcast because I want a global reach. I want to grow my emphasis on being on stages and get myself to more places. I also, this book launch is going to be big.
Sure.
So that's going to take a
Absolutely.
lot of time for me, getting my book out there and putting together a book tour. And also my book, Chaos to Clarity, Seeing the Signs and Breaking the Cycles, is going to be coming out as an audiobook.
Oh, wow.
So I'm
Okay.
super excited. And I have a few events that I'm going to be part of that I was just recognized as the top mental health contributor of 2026 by the International Association of Top Professionals. So very grateful
That's
for that.
fantastic.
And I'm just going to keep on with this work because I want to change the narrative. And I want people to know that there's so much hope and that they are not alone. And you don't have to stay stuck and live in the life that you are.
Okay. So, if I wanted to reach out to Marci,
Mm-hmm.
tell me how I can do that.
Well, I would tell you to go to wakeupwithmarci.com
Okay.
because all my social is there, everything is there in my podcast. But Wake Up with Marci is everything. That's my social, it's my website. So, if you just want to put in Google Wake Up with Marci, you'll find me.
Okay. Okay. And so you've got a lot of events planned for the next year, which is
Yeah, I'm
fantastic.
excited.
It's going to be great to watch you transition through all that.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's what I do know: the stories on the backside of that
Yeah.
are going to be exceptional as well. Any things that you'd like to offer the audience that you feel like you haven't said that you'd like to say right now?
I just want you to know that you are not broken, that you are becoming. And it is time for you to know your worth.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was an awesome opportunity
It's
to sit
been
down with and speak with you.
amazing.
And I hope it's been a little bit fun. for
It
you.
has been, of course it has.
But I'm going to do a plug for us.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to find out where our tours are, or if you'd like to connect with us, if you're just looking for some peace, your own joy, or just want to become the better person that you always meant to be, go to www.comechangeyourlife.com or visit us on Becoming the Better You. We're on Facebook. We're on all the social media. And take the opportunity, because this is really all about what you're doing and what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about changing our lives.
It is about
Becoming
changing our lives.
becoming a better person.
We don't have to stay stuck and becoming the better person for yourself first. And then it all falls into line and you become a better person for everyone else in your life.
Again, thank you, Marci,
Thank you.
for the opportunity to interview. Again, I'm Brian K. Ramey, and we'll see you on our next episode. Thank you.